I was asked to talk about the biggest mistakes that I have seen clients make. I can tell you that some of those mistakes are intentional, some are not intentional, and some are, it is almost impossible for you to have avoided that. But having said that, let me tell you what is the worst thing that the mutual fund industry can do to you is just refuse to transfer 65,000 rupees from your dead uncle's account to your account without getting the will probated. And I think this is absolutely ridiculous. There is no solution. Couple of mutual funds, since I don't want to blame the guys who are not doing it, I will not tell you about the guys who are doing it also. Do it with just a guarantee saying, okay, in case there is a dispute tomorrow, you will come and repay the money. Just a guarantee is good enough. But imagine for 65,000 rupees, there is a guy who has got an inheritance of 65,000 rupees in one mutual fund. That is, there is no nomination in that. And that's fairly obvious because there is no nomination, there is no second holder from his uncle whom he was looking after. But his uncle has left a will, and in the will the mention is made of the specific fund house, saying units lying in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fund houses, and it is lying there, and the fund house is saying no, you have to get it probated. The cost of probating that will is going to be not less than 1 lakh or fees, and it's going to take time. Now what they have done is they said no, you have to get it probated. Can you imagine spending 1.5 lakhs to get a will probated for claiming your 65,000 rupees? I think the mutual fund industry can do much better. But forget what the mutual fund industry can do and will do. Most of this thing they may not do till the cows come home. What you can do is make sure that if any of your friends, relatives, etc. are there, make sure that they understand the importance of holding your units as either or survivor, preferably with your spouse. And if you don't wish to hold it as either or survivor with your spouse or with your children, make sure that there is at least a nomination. Now this is very fine as far as your investments are concerned, but make sure that you talk about this within your family circle so that everybody knows the importance. So if some uncle whom you are looking after has some money somewhere lying and you think he is going to give it to you or he is going to give it to somebody else, make sure that documentation is right. So improper titling is very scary, and that is, I think, the biggest mistake, because some of it is most of it is unintentional. Obviously it's a mistake, right? And the industry is not going to wake up to you and say, oh my god, such a small amount and why should I need a probate? No, that's not going to happen, not going to happen quickly. So that's a big one. Second is waiting for a long time to start investing. The most important thing when you're 22, 23 is just start, make a start. Don't keep on delaying. Don't wake up at 35 and say, I wish I had started earlier. Wishing does not help. You have to actually do it. And at that stage, go to a financial planner, because another thing which I see is people do some random investments. They bought some mutual funds, they bought some equity shares. In a boom like this that does well, then suddenly when they need money, they sell something which is not doing well, or they sell something which is doing well. They have no clarity about whether they want to buy a house, when they want to buy a house, how it is going to be funded, right? Nothing of it is known. And suddenly somebody wants to travel, they want to go to Goa, they don't see enough money, then they charge everything on their credit card. So, right, all these things. Not planning, if you ask me, in one single line, if I have to say, the biggest mistake is not planning. Bad documentation and not planning. Plan your life, see what you want to do, see how much you can invest. Can you invest 1 lakh per month? Can you invest 1,55,000 per month? If you can invest 1,35,000 per month, there is no need to do 1,10,000 per month. Just do 1,35,000. If you have a problem, if you have a money shortage tomorrow, you can always go back and restart and withdraw some money. That's not really a problem. But just invest as much as you can for as long as you can and without interrupting, right? The very essence of wealth creation, I keep saying, is go to a wealth advisor who can tell you how the importance of goal setting. This book is on goal setting. Importance of goal setting. If you're a doctor, it is very important that you should buy your clinic first and your house later. Sounds very simple. There's a big difference, right? If you're an entrepreneur just about starting, you need to take adequate life insurance and adequate medical insurance. These are very subtle things that nobody is going to tell you. There is going to be no website which may tell you all these things, but some experienced advisor will be able to help you with these kind of things. So goal setting, taking adequate insurance, then starting an SIP, and like they said, lage raho, you just keep at it. You can't see the impact immediately. If you start walking and you start dieting, you're not going to see the impact of that on day one, but slowly over 15 days, 20 days, 1 month, 6 months, you will notice the impact. People around you will tell you that you're looking, your muscles are looking taut, that you're perhaps you will yourself realize that you're able to climb 4 floors without panting, right? You will see the benefits, but those benefits don't come overnight. It's not like you bought Tata Power for 30 rupees and today it is 270 rupees and you're wondering what to do, right? That's not the game. The game is to build wealth over a period of time. It is just like diet, right? So eating, sleeping, eating right, sleeping right, doing proper exercise, you need that balance. That balance can be provided only if you show your portfolio to an outsider and you create your own goals. This is the goal, I want to do a startup. This is the goal I want for my daughter's education. This is the goal that I want to go on a world tour. Whatever your goals are personal, but make sure that you have them and the investments are aligned to that. 99% of people don't do that. They just random pick up. No, I had gone to my cousin's house and he said Narendra Modi is doing a great job with infrastructure, so I bought Tata Power at 30 rupees and today it is 260 rupees. Why do you think it is your achievement? You were plain bloody lucky. Maybe you could have bought something else which has also gone up 10 times or 12 times, but that is not your life. How much did you buy? 100 shares. How does it change? Your 3,000 becomes 26,000 or 62,000. How does it change? Have you put adequate money into that? Is it making an impact on your life, right? Those are the kind of changes. Is the sizing right? So when you have documents, have you made sure that the titling is right? Do you have a will in place? Are you doing an SIP to the maximum extent possible? Or maybe you're investing in equity. I have no objections to that. Whatever, are you doing it right? Do you have any person whom you can shout to and get a feedback on what you're doing? Will that person be truthful to you, right? Fee paying, when you pay fees, you expect your advisor to be truthful to you. But is there an advisor available who will advise you on portfolio management and all that? Answer is no. Even if it's there, it's not a regulated kind of a thing. People can take your money and do a PMS, but will they sit with you and talk as to why this share and all that? It's very doubtful, at least not at a small level. Maybe at a much higher level, they can give you the philosophy where they are investing, what they are investing, and specific details saying, I'm buying so many shares of this, etc. Right? But be very clear as to what you want from the advisor. So not having enough clarity, not having goals, not knowing why you're investing, delaying for a very long period of time, then not prioritizing retirement, choosing to say, oh, my children need to be educated. Education has got very expensive and the ROI on education is dramatically low. I'm very happy my daughter is doing CA. It is actually costing me nothing. She gets a scholarship plus she gets a stipend. So I have absolutely, my expenditure on my daughter's education is close to zero. But everybody may not be in such a lucky position. So you may have to prioritize with the money that you have. You may have to prioritize what you're going to pay for, what you're not going to pay for, what is urgent, what is important. People don't do that. I see that as a big issue. People don't know how to calculate returns. Even with calculators, nobody knows how to calculate return on say real estate. They say, हाँ ये घर हमने 1 crore में लिया था, अभी 3 crore हो गया. But out of that 1 crore, they had borrowed 90 lakhs. Now they have repaid maybe 1.35. So 45 lakhs extra is the interest that you paid on the house that you bought for. You paid 10 lakhs plus you paid 45 lakhs for the interest. You obviously repaid the loan also. So that money also came out of your pocket. So your total cost is now 1 crore 45 lakhs, which you have sold for 2 crores. You have made 55 lakhs. Not bad at all. But know how to calculate returns. Most people don't. So, I mean, these are random thoughts. Maybe I'll come up with more videos on the client's mistakes or people's mistakes that I have seen. Thank you.